Hey, welcome to Dream Aloud with Kendra. It's a podcast for Black women who want to live limitless lives. Be inspired by others who have dared to step outside of their comfort zone to live their hopes and dreams and passions. Now let's get started because life is way too short not to live the way that you want.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to second act series of Phenomenal Women Who Pivot. We're nearing the end of this series, and so we've been doing this since November when I started with my mentor. And now I have another phenomenal woman who has made many pivots. And I have been privileged to watch her from afar and up close since I was very little. So she went away to college. We're from the great metropolis of Mispa. That's what she calls it. And so she's taught me to say the same. And if we're the only two people on the planet that think that, other people are thinking it now too. But she went away to college, but she would come back in the summer and run the summer day camp. And she spent a lot of times figuring out people's gifts. So she actually told my mom that I was really good in math and to cultivate that. And so I can thank her for my STEM career now because it started at the Head Start before I started first grade. I think I was in kindergarten when I first started that. But, my mom told me we should really cultivate that. So she's always had a heart for the community. I've watched her graduate, move to Nigeria, and I thought that was like the greatest thing on earth, that you just moved to the continent of Africa. And then she came back with all of these stories and two little babies that, became my little friends. And now they are phenomenal women themselves. I've watched her do her social work, become a minister, and now she's a pastor. She's a chaplain. She's a mother, sister, daughter, friend, auntie, community activist, you name it. She is it. So when we're talking about phenomenal women who pivot, I just told you several pivots. And I just want to welcome Reverend Ethel Wade. Thank you for joining me today.
Oh, thank you for inviting me and for this opportunity to be on such a magnificent program. Yes, when you said all those things, I'm like, I watch you grow in so many ways, and I'm very um, just pleased that you would even take time to ask me. So to God be the glory of it all.
Yep. You've done so much. So before the conversation, I want to correct something. I put the title of this interview as Coping in Trying Times, but you called it Conquering During Trying Times. And I wanted to make that correction because I want to get off on the right foot with the right wording, because words make a difference. Words are important, and what you say are, it creates things. So I want to make sure that we said it right. So it is conquering. So why did you choose the word conquering?
Well, through many life experiences, I changed the word like problems into challenges, calling them challenges. And so conquering is set forth that I'm going to overcome this. So I'm going to conquer this. It may not seem like it at this time when we're going through, but my direction is that everyone, not just me, that we're going to conquer our challenges that we have.
Okay, so before we get into that, because that'll be the meat, tell us some of the pivots that I talked about. How did you went to college, but you always came back home and help the community? How did you end up in that camp director's job?
Well, I guess first I'm going to say that it was not my direction to go into college at first, graduating from high school. And as you know, Mr. Newton had started a summer camp program, and he had hired this brother, Harold Mose. And Harold Mose came into the metropolis of Mizpah with the intention of really recruiting Black young people to go to college. And at that time, it was the Martin Luther King scholarship program was offered at that time. So it was a job at the summer camp in which I met him. And I get a little choked up because it was a job that had one position and it was only one position open. And he and Mr. Newton didn't know what to do because Marsha Jones Byron, my best friend, and I said they interviewed so well, they wanted to hire both of us.
Oh, okay.
So we both said, we'll share the job. So we literally shared a check. And that from that point on, Mr. Mose got us into college. And that's why I went to college. And each time that I came back, it was instilled in me very young. You always help, and I guess that was my connection of helping. So coming back was natural for me to come back to help.
So where did you go to college?
I did my bachelor's work at that time. It was Glassboro State College. Wow, now it's Rowan University, but at Glassboro State College at that time, very very few Blacks in the in that college, and the Martin Luther King scholarship program, of course, brought in a lot of minorities, and we started in a summer program, which helped us to prepare ourselves for the college life. And they were Paulette and myself went there, and Sandra Newman. We all went to college there. Paul, yes, all of us, yes.
So you just named all of your friends.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you went to college there, and you went on scholarship in the summer program, the Martin Luther King program. But you guys were revolutionary before that.
Yes, before that.
So I'm still waiting for the book.
Okay.
So I want you to tell everybody about what happened at your good old high school, our high school, because we couldn't imagine that. We thought that everything had always been a lot smoother than it really is. But we have you guys to thank for that. So tell us a little bit about that, and so now everybody else can ask for the book as well.
I have not written the book to be published yet. It's in the process, but the book I could say is a story, and so I could tell the story right now. Briefly, that the story during that time, we're talking about the 70s, the early 70s, which it was still a lot of social unrest in the community, and from our parents, from very very young, instilled in us about education and getting a good education and standing up for what you believed in. And one of the things that was happening at that time in college, there was no Black history, was not taught at all. We did not have Black cheerleaders. We didn't have Black teachers, and that was something that we wanted. I am calling us the 19 because it was 19 of us that was involved that eventually went to jail due to the fact that we were standing up for those things. And quiet as it's kept, we did it in a very orderly fashion. We wrote up a document that we presented to the school, but it was rejected. And from that, we that particular day, that police were called, dogs were called, and we were shocked. But one thing our parents told us, that if any time we had any trouble, to call, but they shut down the phones at that time. So we weren't able to call. Some of us who were older, very, very unfortunately, went to jail, strip searched, um, which was a very traumatic experience. And some of us they kept in another room. Our parents came in. Our parents were very well organized. Miss Louise Jones, Maddie and Freddie Washington, and then of course Melvin Newton got involved. The NAACP got involved. The Civic Association got involved, and that's how we were able to get back into school. And they had to erase these things from our records because we were called radicals and troublemakers. But we were standing up for, as I said, at that time in the country of a lot of civil rights movements that we picked up back from the 50s that was embedded in us, that we were going to stand up for those things because it was needed.
So we'll be waiting for that book.
Yes.
So that we can get all the details.
Well, that's one of the things on my list.
I don't think I remember hearing there were dogs or the phones were shut.
Yes. Yes.
High school students.
Yes, high school students. It started out a large group of us. By the time we finished and the running and the kind of little chaotic things going on, it was picking the 19. I guess we were picked because we were considered, quote unquote, the ringleaders of this. But it couldn't stick. In fact, it motivated us. Because we were threatened by school superintendents that you'll never be able to get in school. You're a bunch of troublemakers and things of that sort. But we were motivated by it. Our parents stood by us, the community stood by us, and made sure, no, that's not what's going to happen. And so we were able to forge forward and really do some of the things that our parents wanted us to do and what we had in mind to do.
And yes. It started with good trouble.
Yes, good trouble. Yes, yes. Lewis said that. That's some good trouble. Yes.
Awesome. So tell us how you got from school to Nigeria and back. And so I wanted to talk about the Africa class that you teach too. I just showed up at the class, thought I knew a lot of stuff, and I knew nothing. And so I'm looking forward to that class starting back again. So I'm so glad that you have not only a heart for the community, but a heart for the diaspora as well.
I guess that that again was not my intention. But during this summer program, I met a sister from Nigeria. And upon meeting her, I was just fascinated. Here I come from Mizpah, then not the metropolis, I call it, but from Mizpah. And it was like, wow, her accent, she has an accent. And she was gracious enough to share with us about Nigeria. And it was then that I said, I am going to go there, not knowing, okay, a way was made that I was able to go. But that's how it kind of started. I was fascinated with that. And of course, being around Barbara Jones, of course, a professor. So when those times that I would visit, we talked about Africa. And so it became a mission to talk about the motherland, to talk about that it's not something to be ashamed about. Mm-hmm. Learning about we are descendants of kings and queens. We are descendants of architects and all lawyers and engineers and very strong essence of spiritual people. We were very spiritual people. So that's how that was planted in that first year and talking to her. And then I had the opportunity to visit. I visited twice before I moved there. So it was an awesome experience that I'll never, ever forget.
So you talked about the spiritual side of our people. the strong spiritual piece to that. How does that weave into what you want to talk about? The conquering spirit, the conquering in difficult times.
Uh, we have been a people um, who have been through quite a bit as time and history has told us, but we were always able to overcome. And one of the things that I did latch on to in Nigeria was the spiritual aspect of it. I had the opportunity to be around in the village. Um, the girl's father took us to the village. When we went to the village, um, I I sat next to the storytellers who told stories about how the village became. I was able to travel through, I would say, a sort of wilderness and see a great opening of this beautiful river and fish, and which um, I was prayed over.
Mhm.
And what the interpreter was telling me, what was being said, that they had a direction in life that I had no idea about. One, I would have children, and not one, but I call them my gift and my bonus from God, that I would have children.
And your
Um,
twins.
yes, and and that I would aspire to do good things. From that visit, I was given a name, and which I use quite often is Emisomi. And Emisomi, Emesomi, which means someone and something good. So I was renamed
Oh,
um, when I was there, Emisomi. Uh,
Omanasi says, yes, that's my mommy. That's my mama. So it means
yes,
something good.
someone or something good. That's basically what it means. So rename. So it was a spiritual connection. It was seeing people, my people, especially when you went to the village. There's some things I had to get used to, of course,
Mhm.
but there was that spiritual connection. You felt the connection, and I see I have a natural curiosity, so I'm going to ask why, how come, and even though the language barrier, I was able to really understand. So that really, really made that spiritual connection. And when you start talking about our descendants of kings and queens, that look, we had to be a strong people to survive.
Yeah.
All of what we went through, we could have been a civilization that's a name in a book that says, well, we don't know what happened to them,
Yeah.
but we always were conquerors. We were always pressing forward. We were always a people that said, okay, if and I guess with our older and ancestors, they said if it's not going to be for me right now, I believe it's going to be for my children or my children's children, and that's okay. So yes,
Want everything that they were denied or that they didn't get. We want it all.
yes,
That's
yes,
awesome. So it's always about the collective.
yes. Always, yes. It's I know we sometimes use that symbol, the crabs in the basket, as pulling down. So we switched it to, look, I'm pulling my brother and sister up.
It's a
So
new
that's what it is.
perspective.
Excuse me.
It's a different perspective
Yes.
and controlling of the narrative. So I was glad to hear you talk about the storyteller because we know that that's the griot.
Yeah, agree.
And I know that that is a gift that I have for the African diaspora, especially my own family and my lineage. And so to tell the story and to control the narrative in such a way that you see the other side. So I was asked to a women's ministry to talk about generational curses.
Hmm.
And I read about the blessings come from generation to generation. So I posed the question to the ladies, what if it, what is it that, what if we are just looking at it wrong? Looking at it from a perspective that someone else wants to look at it. Yes, there are some traditions that we need to change. There are some things that we may need to look at a different way, but there's lots of things that we can
Oh,
preserve.
yes.
So who are you listening to?
Yes. Yes. A very important word that you said, perspective. So we have to remember, that we live in a country where there's systematic racism. It's within the system.
Mhm.
So the perspective of the system is that, okay, if we promote that you're carrying a curse and that you are cursed by a lineages of people, then that's that psychological thing that you get in mind and you feel like you are. And storytellers are going to tell from their perspective as opposed to a system's perspective. And yes, you have a great gift to do that, to be a storyteller. And Omanase has carried that on through her poetry and telling stories and of what the social ills of society. So yes, it's definitely the perspective. And so the perspective that we always have to come on, even now through this COVID-19, we have to come through from the perspective, we're going to conquer this. And yes, very unfortunate, many have died, many have gotten sick, but also there's many that have survived and keep surviving, and that we are going to be the ones to continue to help
And that in
others.
itself is a testimony. That is a testimony. Just when you think about the Middle Passage, not
Yes,
everybody made it here,
yes.
but to survive the Middle Passage and then to survive all
Oh,
that you had to go through so that we could be here
yes,
today,
yes,
to make
yes,
sure that we tell the story from our perspective.
yes. And it brings to mind a story from our perspective. Was it Gil Scott who said, who had that song, "The revolution will not be televised"? Okay, this revolution has been going on. We are not in the generation of how they characterize generations, silent generation, this generation, and everything. I call it the Resurrection X generation,
All right now.
that we we overcome. We have been resurrected from um, uh, sin and from poverty and things of that sort. That we have, and within us, the power of the Holy Spirit. So therefore, we have been resurrected. We have been reborn, and the X is standing not for the unknown, but is standing for the Christ, if we are to the religious aspect of it, because that's what it means. We're resurrected through that, and we're a generation. We're not bogged down by the statistics. We're not bogged down by um, all of the social ills of society. And one of the other key things, and sometimes we miss this, we are also a people of not just of culture, but we know how to manage money. Because if we keep saying we can't, they don't know how, then no, that's what we're going to believe. Ilamosi in her field of accounting is very good about
Yes.
budgeting and things of that sort. And we had to. How could we have come up with schools and colleges um, becoming wealthy enough to be able to help others? Because sometimes we miss all of that, and the focus is on, oh, who didn't do it.
Yep.
But it's plenty of us who have and know how to manage money, started banks, have known that for some time. And so we have to, again, that perspective, and we have to overcome. I heard a messenger say, media. media is reinforces a lot of the systematic racism that we have, and we have to be careful and look at it. I mean, through the viewpoint that we have marketers that know if I start my kids wearing Nike or other brands, famous brands in middle school, they're always going to do it. So that's how I'm going to make my money. So their market is not on the adult. They're going to be focusing on the kids and the teenagers. So we have to get a perspective. We have to know how to budget, how to control our monies, and then how to put them together in order to do something that's great and wonderful. Yes.
And like you said, we have been doing that.
Yes, we
And
have.
the other myth is we can't stick together. Well, then
Yes.
who did we do business with when you couldn't do business with white people?
Right.
We did with each other.
Right.
We bartered. We actually, there was the mortician, like even when I was little, when you passed away, I thought you went to Lively. That's a wonderful name
Right.
for a funeral home, right?
Yeah.
But I thought Mr. Lively came and got everybody because
Right.
he was the only one that I ever saw at every church. When we got a fan, it said Lively Funeral Home on it. So there was always people in business, and we stopped telling the story. That's
Yes.
another thing,
Yes.
because we here don't think too highly of yourself and let other people boast about you. You don't do it.
Yes.
Where everyone else is boasting about themselves. So our children start believing the narrative that we don't have what they have. I saw something, and this was a cousin on Facebook, and I won't go into what he said, but someone else had made a comment and said, we're a broken people.
Mm.
And that's why. And everybody clicked like. And I wanted to say, come on, you can't believe that. And you can't believe that other people don't have the same problems that we have.
Yes.
So everybody has the same problems. Everybody has the ability to overcome. But when you look at the resilience and all of the obstacles that this group of people has to climb and go get over just to be on a playing field with other people, you should think of how strong and mighty we are as a people.
Yes.
But if we don't tell the story, if we don't look at it from that different perspective, we start to say what other people say. And let's talk about the metropolis of Mizpah.
Yes. Yes.
I have neighbors, friends, co-workers who didn't want to tell people they were from Mizpah.
Exactly.
I have people from across the highway who thought they lived better than we did, and people who came to visit didn't know the difference between Bears Head and Mizpah.
Yes.
But now that the demographic is changing, the minds of other people are changing. Oh, Mizpah's good now. No, nothing's changed except the homeowners.
Yes. Yes.
So we need to start valuing what we have.
Yes.
And not wait for other people to place a value on us.
Yes.
Or what we do, because we're always copied.
Yeah, for sure. We don't need somebody to validate us. I don't need you to validate me.
What is it? Imitation is the greatest flattery. So today a word is inappropriate.
Yeah.
Oh, a new Ebonics word is inappropriate. Then later on you start seeing it on the commercial.
Yeah.
And then other people are saying it. Now you hear it in the boardroom and it ends up in the dictionary. Now it's acceptable because other people are using it.
Yeah.
But we keep creating it. We need to tell our children these things.
Yes. Yes. It's important of the storytellers. This is important. I don't look at generation gaps. I look at communication gaps that we have. I don't look at generation gaps because we are and still are people that we can relate to each other no matter the age. We were together. I growing up in Mizpah. I was under a lot of the elders many times because my grandparents promoted the fact that you have a poor house if you don't share. So I grew up around there. So we were always talking. We have to understand that we are people that have worked together. It's not the generation gap. Yes, communication, but not generation. We work together. We have to look at that and erase this fact about, Black women are tough and they're not kind. Black women raising families. I was told one time that, oh, you're trying to raise your family like a man. And I said, no, I'm raising my family like me, who I am. And we have to put
Mhm.
away that perspective that because I come from a single, what they call the single family home, and it's a Black mother that's in there. They're telling us that uh, children raised that way will not respect authority and all those things. Sometimes, yes, those things do happen, but that is not us. That's not what happens across the board.
Right.
Black on black crime, we don't hear about white on white crime. When you do crime statistics, they don't. They did not at one time include white collar crime because it was considered white collar crime. So that didn't get put into the statistics. What doesn't get put into statistics, okay, because we didn't quote unquote marry, but we did have a male figure,
Mhm.
okay, in the family. But that doesn't get put into that. So we have to, as you said, watch about the wording, and know the facts and get the facts straight so that we are not putting down each other, but we are pulling each other up. And that's how we have conquered and continue to conquer. I mean, how else would we have had our people to reach such heights? We wouldn't have had the Million Man March. We wouldn't have had the Selma March. We wouldn't have had any of those things if we're strong, we're mighty, and our young people, I believe, is not our future. They're our present and our future.
Yes.
And so we have to instill in them those values that we have, and so that we will move away from when we hear that, oh well, yeah, I'm ugly, and using terms of good hair, and things of that sort. I
Mhm.
mean, coming through with this at the time that I started, oh my God, it was like I had committed a crime.
Yep.
How dare you do that? And we have to learn to love ourselves
Yep.
of who we are. We have to learn to do that and to see who we are and our strengths so that we can tell others, and we're passing that along. And we are passing it along. And we are passing it along. Yes,
Sean says fearfully and wonderfully made. And
yes.
Joyce said, you must be your own cheerleader. And then
Mhm.
we have a lot of talk about it. And there it is. So
Yes,
there people are agreeing and they understand.
yes. We are
Joyce
awesome
said, laugh
people.
out loud. You wear your hair like that? So she must be have run into that as well.
Oh,
I
yes.
was I was late to the game of wearing my hair natural. I think I didn't start until about 2000, and I
Hmm.
didn't lock my hair until 2013. But it was a process
Oh,
of
yes,
conditioning
yes,
for me.
yes. It is.
I was still straightening it.
Yes,
And then I was still slicking the edges down.
you're right.
And so I had to get to the point where, why do I feel this way?
Hmm.
And it's generation after generation. So if
Yes.
you're listening right now and you know what a kitchen is, that's conditioning.
Yes, it is. It is. It's all right, if we're wearing various hairstyles, and other things to alter our hair and everything. But if you don't know how you look and like how you look without it, then that's where the image problem
Yeah.
comes in.
It's
So
okay
I
to
could
wear the
do it.
weave if you want,
Right.
but don't wear the weave and never let anybody see anything else because you don't like who
What?
you really are
Right. Yes.
at your
Yes.
core.
Yes. At your core.
So
Yes.
that's the external image of not knowing who you are at your core internally. And so when we don't know who we are at our core internally, then we don't work in our purpose. We definitely don't have passion about what we do. And we're probably not using our gifts and talents the way that God intended.
And that's how we get conquered. But then we're going to reverse this and say, I'm going to conquer that and move that out of the way. I'm conquered and I'm over that. I love me. I love who I am. And we have to teach that to our girls, especially to our young ladies, to our young sisters, to teach them it's okay. Oh, we have to stop saying, oh, child, using the word, oh, your hair's so nappy. Well, now nappy is a great word.
We're happy to be nappy.
But happy to be nappy.
It took a moment for us to get there.
Yes.
My prayer is that a young woman who has grown up seeing natural hair won't have that issue.
Yes. Yes. And it's amazing.
And it's a shame when you don't even know you have an issue.
Yes, that's the other.
When I decided to go natural, I was like confused. I didn't even know how to take care of my own hair.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had to start all over again.
Yes. Yes.
And so that's an external. That is an external picture of what's going on the inside.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So how do we take care of ourselves?
Yes.
How do we do what we need to do to survive? But I don't want people to just survive. I want them to thrive.
Yes.
So conquering in difficult times.
Yes. And we are conquerors.
Yes, ma'am.
We are conquerors through Jesus Christ. We definitely are.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So if we are movers and shakers, we're innovators, we're creative, we're entrepreneurs, we're all of that in a bag of chips.
Kathy says, say it louder.
Yeah. Oh yes, we were saying it, and then you could say it, but you got to get it in your spirit. You got to get it from the inside out, and knowing that you have to really know that.
Gina says, it took me a long time, but going all natural and locking my hair was the best decision I ever made. Mm-hmm. But it took us so long.
Yes.
Because we were afraid.
Yes.
To be who we were made to be.
Yes.
And it's so much easier. I don't worry about rain anymore.
Yeah. You get the water.
When it rains, Mike is like, grab your umbrella, cover your head. I was like, I don't have to do that anymore. So even the men are conditioned for what you had to do before.
Yes.
And there's such a freedom just in the hairstyle alone.
Yes.
So what happens when you do that from the inside? And I noticed that I needed some work on the inside just by looking at my hair.
Yeah.
And not liking it when I cut it short.
Right.
And showing up in places and people looking at you, people who look like me.
Oh my,
looking at me like, what in the world did you just do?
Yes, I shaved my hair.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I started. So I shocked St. John.
They weren't ready.
No.
They weren't ready. See, I'm seeing that I need some reading glasses, so I'm gonna hold this far away so I can read the comments.
Yes.
Because it's getting a little blurry there. So that's another thing, just, getting older. I want to grow gracefully and move forward. So I'll take the wisdom. I'm not dyeing my hair either. So I'm letting the gray come through. And that's more of, I don't like when I cannot keep things up. So I don't paint my nails. And I won't be dyeing my hair because I'll be the one with the black hair here and the gray hair up. So I'm just going to go with the flow. So I'm going all natural, letting it all go.
Change has to come.
Yes.
And it's how we're going to deal with the change. For sure.
Mosi says, I'll never forget when Mom shaved her head. I cried.
She did. She cried. She picked my hair up, and she was in my lap at the beauty salon. She picked it up and she's like, "Mommy," you know. But she understood later. But yeah, I literally she took the razor, just shaved it
She
off.
picked it up.
Yes, yes, she did.
She wanted to save your conditioning.
Yeah, at that time, yes,
Omanase says, as a nurse with locks, my skills were questioned.
yes, yes,
As a nurse with brown skin, I'm sure your skills were questioned
yes,
too.
yes.
And she just brought up something. I'm studying the midwives.
Oh, yes,
Those the ladies from the continent all through the enslavement period and after, when you could not get a doctor's help,
that's right.
the
They wouldn't touch you.
midwife was a healer. So your doula did two things. They caught babies, but they also were your medics.
Yes, yes,
And so in my study, I've learned that there was a campaign in the 60s, 70s, and 80s to hurt the reputation of the doula
yes,
and the midwife,
yes.
and to require them to go through training that they already knew,
Mm-hmm.
and to keep them from getting licenses. And now the population of midwives, which was 80% Black, is now about 5% Black.
Mm-hmm.
How interesting.
Yes, yes. A mind conditioning of the mind, the image that you put out there about our people, the misnomer about Florence Nightingale, about she was not a fan of Black nurses.
I didn't know that.
She was not really a fan of that. A lot of it was a traveling museum one time back, some time, about the history of nursing and midwives who were Black and what they went through. Um, and then you have also included in that is a history of people from not just this country, from other countries, who said they remember the Black angels, and they were midwives, they were nurses, and they said that they would sing over them,
Yeah.
and that would help. And so that singing and that voicing, caring, because as I said, it's a calling in that field, and that's what they took it as, a calling, just like in the ministry. And of course, also in the ministry, we're talking about Black women coming up in the ministry. It's been hard, mine coming up. I've been told, just because I'm a woman, I was, no, you can't go in my pulpit, because we are still was dealing with conditioning that we have been passed down. And
That conditioning, I heard a quote from David Banner that said, are you really looking for liberty, or are you just waiting your turn to hold the whip?
Wow, that's deep.
So that made me think of that when you talked about the pulpit, because you're in the AME church.
Yeah, AME Zion.
AME Zion.
Yes.
So it's still African Methodist, right?
Yes.
So the people who didn't want you in their pulpit,
yes,
look like you.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, yes. But again, conquered, because it's growing. Yes, we had to conquer that also.
Conditioning.
Yeah, you had to conquer that also. I remember another female minister told me, she says, don't ever try to be a Black male minister. She says, always be yourself, and always know you're working for God.
Mm-hmm.
Always know that. Don't try to act like a man. Just go ahead and be you, or what God has already made you. So it's a struggle. I did say Amy Zine for the mere fact, because it does bother me that we had that separatism of the AME and the AME Zion, because there was some disagreement. Here again, it was that communication. So we splintered. But uh, again, we had to conquer that. And now I say, look, we're all serving the same God, and so we have to move away from that. We have to move away from those stigmas, and we have to move away from that. And we have, and we have, and we have to continue to do so, more and more. Women, Black women were the cornerstone of the Black church.
Mhm.
Uh, we still are. And so we also overcoming that and moving forward from that, of saying, I stand on, wherever I am in the ministry, I'm just going to do my work. Okay, I'm just going to do my work. I know the Great Commission, and working with the Great Commission, and it doesn't matter. You don't have to like me, but I know that, I have a mission, and God has put me on this trail. It took me a while to get there now. It just didn't happen like real quick, but it took me a minute to get there. But once I'm focused on my mission, in which many people are, when you get focused on your mission, your purpose in life, that's how you conquer things. And, that's how you are able to help one another. That's why you erase negative thinking and thoughts of other people, and be there for other people. That's how we conquer. We have to erase those types of negative things.
So when I'm focused on that promise, focused on my purpose, because trying things are going to come, trying times are
Oh, yeah.
come. But if I have a purpose and I'm focused on that, that's how we conquer.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And then you talked about a lady, another minister telling you not to try to be a man, not to be that type of minister. I see the liberty in that, in being your unique self. So not even just being another woman, Pastor, being you.
Yes.
Because when we show up fully as ourselves, wholly as ourselves, the unique selves that we are, and doing the work that we were placed here to do. And I think everybody has a calling. It's not always in church, but everyone has a calling. So if you look at your purpose as your ministry, whatever it is that you're doing, then that conquering should be easier. But, we're spending a lot of time unraveling, unpulling, taking this off and putting that on. If we could just be, it would be a lot easier. And so I'm praying for that for the next generation. For us to see where we are. I just felt like the hair thing was very enlightening to me, to see all of the layers of things that I was taught, that I thought was right.
Right. And we did. I mean, we wanted to fit in. There was this push, that we had to change ourselves and fit in. And then what was the term? America is the melting pot. No, it's a stew. Okay, it's just different people put together. We're not a melting pot. It's different of us that put together, and we'll make a good meal if we come together with the stew, but not melting all together. I don't have to look like you to be me.
You don't have to give up your identity because your flavor is needed.
Right. Right. Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So yeah, there's a lot of comments because it's a little slower, and they said embrace the gray. Joyce says walk in your purpose, in yours in capital letters.
Yeah.
So they agree. There's just so many things that we could cover in this time. I think we have about 10 minutes left. It went by so quickly. If you have questions, write them in the comments now so that while I'm asking her the final questions, then we can get to this, to your question, hopefully. Um, so I ask every guest on the show, what is your favorite quote?
One of mine, they change. I'm going to be honest, but right now is let go and let God in.
In.
Okay. Let go and let God in your life. Um, yes, let go and let God. I know we said that, but I'm saying to let Him in. And so that's mine that I'm standing on right now and going through this season of my life. As you know, and I lost my husband. It was a definite season change in the midst of all. But when you let go and let God in, it helps you to overcome those things that's in life.
So during this time, lots of people have lost a loved one.
Yes.
So how do you let go and let God in?
Uh, you have to, I didn't say have to, but it's a process. It's not an easy sometimes process, but it is a process, which you may have to take one day at a time. And if that's difficult, it's 1 hour or 1 minute.
Mm.
But it's starting out, it's for me, it's just starting out to say, I'm going to get through this.
Yeah.
Um, Even though at the, maybe at the time you're racked with pain, your heart hurts, your stomach hurts, you're crying, but you say at the end, I'm going to get through this. And that's what we hold on to. And that's how we become conquerors of that. And that's how we can move forward. Uh, Listen, we have, and I don't tell anyone that lost a loved one that you're not going to miss them. Yes, you are.
Mhm.
It's, and we thank God for the gift of memories that we
Mhm.
have, and that helps us along the way. And then that's where our other brothers and sisters come in to help. Uh, you know, Loss is something uh, that we have to say, God, uh, you know how I feel. And I always say, yes, if Jesus wept, then I know I can cry. And so we have to take that weeping, that time, and it's okay because that's the process that we go through, and we'll get through it. We'll get through it.
And so, I'm a people watcher. I see Natasha said amen. And Catherine said, say so. And she said, my auntie told me of her quote many years ago, and I have carried and did my best to live her quote with all I have been through in life. Love you, auntie. That's Kathy. So I'm a people watcher, and I've been watching you. And so you lost your husband, but you continue to pastor. And
Yes,
you said in the pulpit, there were days I didn't want to come today,
yes,
but I pressed my way.
yes,
You also were still conducting funerals
yes,
because you're from the metropolis of Mispa. So
yes,
you conduct a lot of funerals for people that maybe other people didn't know because you've known them for so long. And you were still showing up for other people because of your calling and your conquering. And so I pray for you
mm,
and thank you for following your call in the conquering process as you went through, because a lot of us would have said, no, I'm not doing it.
yeah,
No, I'm not.
yeah.
So I thank you for that,
Oh, you're
because
quite,
people.
quite welcome. It's not easy all the time, I'll tell you. And then God placed me in a church that's called what? Victory. Okay. That's the
Victory.
name of the church,
Exactly.
Victory. And then we changed our name to Greater Victory.
Oh, it's
And
greater victory now. Okay.
yes, it's Greater Victory. We changed our name, which was a suggestion my dear Muffin suggested, and we carried on and presented and did the paperwork for that. So our name is Greater Victory. And so like all of this put together, and a cousin that I grew up with, now Reverend Tanya Gray, who's there, a supporter, and no, here we come again, and family support. and in a place I never thought, never had any idea that I would be, and learn to love again and helping people again. And so that's what we do. Greater Victory is about ministries, we're about community, and so glad about it. We have others that's coming up. I use the word we may be small in number, but we're mighty in our work. Ilamosi says that quite often.
Yeah.
But we're mighty in our work. And
Mighty.
it doesn't matter of the numbers, but it does matter the work and the mind frame you come from when you do your work.
Yeah. So Ilamosi says, thank you for being my example. Omi says, yes, thank you for being my first love. And Kathy said, we're over here being excellent. Aunt and role model and pastor. And she wanted you to know that the first comment that I read was from her husband, from your nephew.
Okay. Okay.
So he didn't say this is Nate. He just said, Auntie, so I thought it was Kathy. We appreciate you. We appreciate what you do. You have food, you have a food pantry.
Yes, we have a
third Friday.
Yes. In fact, that was very instrumental that Harry, my husband, started. The first time, like he was saying these people need food. Harry was constantly giving out money to people. I said, hon, we can't do that all the time because some of the mind frame people aren't there. They're going to come in here. He says, what? So he said, they need some food. So I said, okay, we'll do that. But that's something that was really started by him. So we have continued um, 2 years. We've been doing this straight. I think we missed one time in 2 years, and thankful to the work. And he talked to Skinny Dude. He liked Skinny Dude. He just liked the name.
Skinny
Dude. Yeah, he liked the name because I said something. I said, "Oh, that's Skinny Dude." He's like, "Wow, Skinny Dude." He liked the name. But anyway, they met and hooked up with them, and Skinny Dude and Mia and Tony and all volunteered. They take their trailer, they pick up the food for us. He's been doing it for quite some time, so love it. Mickey Eugenia has put in her military style now to shaping up. Billy Wheeler, when he was here, he was heading it and passed that to her. And she's been doing a fantastic job. And the volunteers, we have such a good time. I mean, if you know Skinny Dude too, you're going to have a good time. So through the cold weather and everything, we still do that. So that's one of our main ministries, and our other is the card ministry that's sending out cards. And of course, that was inspired by Mother Mays about sending out cards. And we support the Boys and Girls Club in Vineland and supporting them. We did the book bag ministry and handing out book bags and collection and passing out those things and doing that. Awesome team that we have. Ilamosi, I know she's going to say, Mom, don't say that, but she's coming up here. She be praying and everything. We say, oh, now you preaching. So, but she's coming up in that way. And we have Nate. I said Nate. I wanted to know. I said Nate.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say the other word too.
Yeah, but I said Nate. Being instrumental in stepping in. Muffin, while Muffin is healing, that he's stepping in with the trustees. So we laugh because it takes 4 people to do what Muffin did. So it's taking 4.
And she does my stuff too. So I asked Kathy to put the URL for the church on here because, Muffin usually does all of that. And we want to say hi to Muffin. I hope she's watching. that and alone, her accident is a miracle.
Yes.
She's
Yes, it is. Yes.
and will make a full recovery, and we praise God for that.
Yes.
Omi says that she is a woman who has always worn many hats. Few people will ride for a cause that she will. True.
Praise God.
True.
Praise God.
And then Sharon said, skinny dude, aka my daddy double D. Good work. And Mickey is a rock star. So
all of them are rock stars at Greater Victory.
stars.
All of them, they're stars. I could not do this without them. They are there, and they are supportive. Even when we were robbed, yes, it was something. They cleaned us out pretty good, but that's part of what happens sometimes. We're conquerors. We had to go through that, and we were able to get back. And I said, Lord, you said when something like this is taken away, we're going to get it back plus some.
Yep.
So,
At least double for your trouble, but
yeah, double for your trouble.
when the thief comes, he said 7 times. So I'll take the 7-fold. But double will be good too.
Yes,
Anywhere you bless. But it's all good. I love what you're doing. Again, I've been watching you for a long time. We could go on and on forever. Someone said, "Hey, Muffin Vibes is my sister." They having a good time now.
yes.
And Joyce Smith says beauty for ashes, and it's true.
Yes.
And so I could go on and on forever. I'm looking forward to this book that I want to read. That's a story in itself. That's a high school story that changed things for the rest of us who followed you to that very same high school.
Yes.
So we thank you for you and the 19.
Yes.
I hope you mention all of them in the book, because we want to know who they all are. I've been asking you for that book forever because I love biographies. I love the stories of people, the tenacity, the resilience. That's where I get my encouragement. I'm an exhorter and an encourager.
Yes,
and I give it out verbally. However, I find myself just reading books and loving the stories of real people. And so that's why I do this platform, simply because I want other people to be encouraged by the stories of our people, because we control the narrative. We can put it out there. And so that I don't want to see again that we're a broken people, because we're not. We're strong people. And I want our young people to know that, and from generation to generation to generation, to remember who we are and how we got here.
Yes.
And on that note, so they said, thank you, Omi and Mosi. You are so welcome. I'm thanking you for sharing your mom and letting her come on here and tell her story. And, she always talks about her people. Her, what do you call them? Your two what? I call them your twins.
Now, I call my gift from God, and then I got a bonus.
Your gift from God and your bonus. So
yeah, I got a bonus.
So they're both on here and they're happy. So I'm just so excited for what's coming next for you. We will stay. I'll keep watching. Okay. And I'll just let everybody know what's going on. I'm putting in my shameless plug for the Africa class to come back, because I still have a whole lot to learn. And if it comes back, I will definitely share on my site, because I learned so much from it. So hopefully, I know you're very, very, very busy. You're at the Boys and Girls Club and all of that good stuff. But hopefully that will come back too. So what's next for you? What are you doing besides all of that at Victory? And we're waiting for Kathy to put in the URL for the church. What else is coming? Is there something coming up at church? Something special? Something that you would like us to attend, or no?
Well, what's coming up for me personally right now, I'm working on my doctorate degree.
Woohoo.
So that's a time. So I had to get back on board because that was a pivot that happened, 2 years. So I'm back on board with that. But what we're getting ready to do, we're going to do Juneteenth, June 19th, but we're going to do it here in the metropolis of Mizpah. But it's going to be sponsored by Greater Victory Amy Zion Church.
So where is it
So
going to be?
right here on Key West Ave.
Okay.
Okay, so it's going to be here on Key West Ave. So we're going to do that, and prayerfully, my grandchildren, my grandsons, will be involved. They have a lot of talent show and Aze, so we're getting them involved, and I would like for you to be involved and some others
My
with
Nigerian princess, of course.
that. Yeah.
I will be. I am doing just online a countdown to Juneteenth.
Okay.
Because I'm talking about peeling back the layers.
Yes.
Finding out who you are at your core. So liberating ourselves physically and mentally and emotionally.
Yes.
So I am doing a countdown to Juneteenth.
Okay.
So that would be absolutely perfect.
Yes. So yeah, we look forward to that, and
over at Greater Victory.
It's gonna be sponsored by Greater Victory, but we're going to do it here in metropolis of Mizpah, here on Key West on the Ave here.
And you're gonna do it on the 19th?
Yes, on the 19th. We're looking to start at 1:00. And definitely it's more of a time of definitely engaging, but also to give people hope, to get some more direction. We're going to follow what we need to follow under COVID, but we'll be outside, so we're able to do some things. Donation, we're looking to have Red Row fried fish at that event. So that means going to the market in Philadelphia docks to get that. But we're looking to have that. But we're looking to do that, and we are continuing our support. We heavily and most definitely believe in spiritual and temporal helping of people. So we're helping with Muffin right now, Team Yellow. So we're collecting funds right now because we need funds. Yes, I'll pray for you, but we also have to give something.
Isn't that interesting? People always want to pray for you, but you can't spend that.
No.
So how do we give to Team Yellow?
Team Yellow, you can cash app to it's the $ Victory AME Mosi. Did I say it right? AMEZ. We don't put the whole word. I think it's the cash app sign, the $ Victory AMEZ. Mosi can help with that.
I think I did it right. So I typed it in. Yeah. Team Yellow.
And then just put Team Yellow or Muffin on that, so that we can help at this particular time of doing some things to making sure her immediate family is taken care of.
Okay, so Mosi has put it up, so she put a $string Victory AMEZ, just that. So you're right. So if you want to, and just put in the comments Team Yellow to help.
Team Yellow, yes, because that's her favorite color.
Yep. And every time we visit, everybody wears yellow.
Yes, and I have my yellow thumb. I keep my one nail yellow.
And then they found a yellow gown for her. So
oh my gosh. Omi was instrumental in that. I'm like, you did not talk to the laundry people. And she said, oh yes, I did, Mom. So, and the laundry guy goes, yes, we must coordinate. Yellow nail, yellow toenail, yellow nail, yellow gown. I said, okay.
So, I can't wait to get Nurse O on here.
Oh my.
So, when she's gonna end this series for me.
Okay.
So, because, we won't want anybody to follow Nurse O. So she'll be the last one in this series. Okay. She's magnificent. But if you want to donate, to Team Yellow for Muffins Recovery, you can use the Cash App that Ilamosi Mincy just posted.
Yeah.
That said, we've gone over. It's already 11:12.
Wow.
So the last question that I have for you, it goes by fast when we're having fun, right?
Yeah.
So the last question that I have for you is, we know that we have not gotten here by ourselves. And so I always ask all of my guests, on whose shoulders do you stand?
Well, I definitely have to say my ancestors, um, because they are the ones who have paved the way.
Mm.
And my photo in the back there, my grandparents who instilled in me the need to be in community and involvement, and also Maddie and Freddie. Those shoulders. There's a lot of shoulders standing on, but most of all, who's holding us all up is the hand of God. So that's definitely who I am. And I love the fact of what you are doing and to incorporate the technology. I'm still getting used to this because our generation came from, the telephone. Now we just have this little phone now. So it's a lot to sometimes the process. But I thank you so much for what you're doing and inspiring people, because that's what we are to do. And you are inspiring a lot of people, and love you for that.
I love you too. So I want to thank everybody for joining us. Again, don't forget, the church is now named Greater Victory AME Zion, and you can find them online. Kathy has just put up the address. And if you want to donate to Muffins Team Yellow fundraiser, you can go to, it's the $ victory AMEZ. And, because we want to bless people financially as well as praying. And if you liked this interview, we have several more. You can find them on my page, on my Facebook page. You can go back and watch all of the phenomenal and inspirational women who are showing through their lives and making the pivots that they need to make to live the life that they dream about. And you can also do the same. And you can also go to my website, Dream Aloud with Kendra. It's ALOUD.com. You can find my podcast there, links to my podcast, learn about the coaching programs that I have, the coaching that I do. Just, go online. You can join our Facebook group. We have a group of women who get together and encourage one another. We also have a quarterly accountability group that you can sign up for as well. So go on to the website. Again, it's www.dreamaloudwithkendra.com. We appreciate you for joining us. Reverend Wade, I thank you. I will keep everyone posted on their Juneteenth celebration, and follow me for the countdown to Juneteenth. Breaking away until we get to our liberty. Have a great night, everyone. We thank you for joining us.
Love all of you, and thank you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Dream Aloud with Kendra. If you like the show, leave a review and tell a friend. I also invite you to join our Dream Aloud Facebook group, where we encourage and challenge our members to step outside of their comfort zone and live limitless lives. I guarantee you will experience true fulfillment when you live, work, and play your way.